Morning, it is Friday, March 1st, 2019, and I am on my way to work, and I just wanted to chime in on two committee hearing meetings, whatever the hell you want to call them, that couldn't be more night and day. They both happened on Wednesday. In Canada, we had Jody Wilson-Raybould, former Attorney General to the federal government, and in Canada, and then we had Michael Cohen, disgraced lawyer of Donald J. Trump, speaking for a House committee. For what reason, I don't know. But if you watched either one of these, and I watched both, the contrast could not be more stark. In Canada, we have everybody being polite, everybody being gracious, we've got everybody being calm and mature and adult-like. And in the United States, there's yelling, there's name-calling, there's aspersions of racism, and it was just, one was a circus, the other was a seminar. It was amazing to watch. So I watched the Michael Cohen one first because it happened first. It started, I think, at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And I didn't watch it live, but I watched the recorded session. And I mean, this guy Michael Cohen, he's going to jail for a number of shitty things. And he decided, even though he's already lied to Congress, he decided to go before Congress again and say all these terrible, terrible things about Donald Trump. You know, orange man bad, Trump is a duty head. What else did he say? Trump farts in elevators and then gets off at a floor and leaves everybody else in the elevator to smell his farts. You know, he called them all the names in the book, and basically gave red meat to the Democrats. The Republicans weren't having any of it, and basically the entire time called into question his credibility as a witness, and mocked the proceedings by saying, "You guys are going to go down in history as being a laughingstock for bringing a disgraced witness who's lied to the Congress before this Congress, just to have him lie again." And I guess some people have been analyzing his statements, and yeah, it turns out he lied yet again. And some Republicans have filed motions to bring him up on further charges. It was ridiculous. And there was one particular instance, Representative Rashida Tlaib. She had talked about a witness or a person who had been brought to the hearing or meeting or whatever you want to call it that day to defend Donald Trump, because Cohen was there basically to shit on Donald Trump. And Mark Meadows, another representative, said, look, this is a longtime friend of Donald Trump. She's an African-American woman, and she's never heard him say a racist thing in her life, and she's known him for years, as long as you have, if not longer. You know, all these sorts of things. And Rashida Tlaib basically called Mark Meadows a racist for bringing this person before the body. She said it was racist in itself to bring a token black person in to represent. Well, Meadows lost it, right? He says, how dare you call me a racist? Apparently Mark Meadows and what's his name, Cummings, the guy who was basically head of the chair of the meeting, they've been all like longtime friends. They've known each other forever. Cummings is an African-American. Meadows is not. And they're longtime friends. Meadows says, look, I've got family that are people of color. Don't call me a fucking racist. And lost his shit on Rashida Tlaib. And she goes, basically says, no, I didn't say that you were a racist. I said someone who would bring an African-American woman here as a token is a racist. Well, that's what Mark Meadows did. So you called him a racist. Just didn't name him. Anyway, it was quite the spectacle. And I urge you to catch the highlights and look at the analysis by other people. Razorfist does a great breakdown of it, and he's always funny. If you don't subscribe to his channel, I highly suggest you do. He's very witty, very sharp, very smart, and 10 years ago he'd be on a radio somewhere announcing. Anyway, so on to the Canadian meeting. Now, this could not be more different. So, Jody Wilson-Raybould was the Attorney General for the federal government in Canada. And there was an affair regarding SNC-Lavalin, who was under indictment for shenanigans. I don't know the exact details, but basically they were giving money to people they shouldn't be giving money to. I think they might have been terrorists or terrorist sympathizers or something like that. I don't know. The SNC-Lavalin thing, when it comes right down to it, they were been brought up on charges. The Prime Minister's office, Prime Minister himself, and several other people within the Prime Minister's close circle were pressuring the Attorney General to make use of something called a deferred prosecutorial action, or a deferred prosecutorial application. So basically, they wanted her to hold off on prosecuting him, or prosecuting SNC-Lavalin, this company based in Quebec, until after the Quebec elections. And they interacted with her on several occasions, applying pressure. She ultimately quit because she said she wasn't going to put up with this, and she realized that she wasn't going to be able to make this go away. So she resigned. She was asked to resign as Attorney General, or she was fired. I can't remember which it is. But basically, when the Prime Minister asks you to resign your position, you're fired. That's all there is to it. And then she quit as a cabinet. She was put to another cabinet position, and she quit. Mainly so that she could basically bring this shit out in the open. Now, of course, Andrew Scheer's calling for his resignation. Lots of people are signing petitions to get him resigned, because this is a clear violation of the powers of the office. However, Trudeau, in his infinite idiocy and arrogance, doesn't seem to think this is wrong. He keeps going back to, well, it was about winning an election, and it was about keeping jobs. Yeah, that's exactly it. You don't have that authority to put your pressure on so that a company doesn't leave Quebec. This was the whole point. They kept telling her, well, look, there's an election coming up in Quebec, and your riding is in Quebec, if they don't get this deferred prosecutorial action or deferred application, they're going to leave. They're going to move their offices to London. When the fuck is the government going to learn that companies will make promises till they're blue in the face with regards to what they're going to do for a community, what they're going to do for a country, and then turn around and say, yeah, we changed our fucking mind? Because they're not beholden to the government. They've got high-priced lawyers. They've got people who can just say, fuck you, we're leaving. And do you think the government really cares? I mean, it looks bad on them, but it doesn't hurt Justin Trudeau if 9,000 jobs leave Quebec. I mean, it might hurt him politically, but let's face it, the guy's not getting reelected in October. I don't think so anyway. I mean, who knows? October's still quite a ways away. We're in what, March 1st, and October is what? Well, we're talking 7 more months. So, yeah, I mean, the idea that the Prime Minister thinks he can put this pressure on a prosecutorial or a justice official for his benefit, for his friend's benefit. And here's the thing, SNC-Lavalin had been lobbying the government, and lots of money was going to come the government's way, but that money wasn't going to go anywhere if they were prosecuted. They weren't going to give it, basically. And this is what it comes down to. So, while our politics in Canada aren't as spectacular and aren't as circus-like and aren't as reality TV show-like as they are in the United States, they're just as slimy, they're just as corrupt, and they're just as dirty. The difference is, our politicians, some of them anyway, don't think they're being slimy. They think that this power is granted to them by the gods, and that they are doing things for the good of the country. Never mind that this is taxpayer money that they're handing out. A friend of mine was telling me the other day that her sister works for the DOD, okay? And her sister was explaining to her how when she was thinking about changing positions within the ministry, I call it the DoD, Department of Defense. It's actually Ministry of Defense. But she worked for the Ministry of Defense. And when she was thinking about switching jobs or going to a different department or different area of the Ministry of Defense, they're making her all these, really sweetheart deal offers about, offering her ski trips and offering her, getaways here and there. And the facilities at our place, they have, a pool table, and they have all this, and they have all these wonderful, they have a golf simulator, like all this stuff to try and woo her. This is a government job. They really wanted her talent, or they really wanted her as part of the budget, right? Her salary is part of their budget. But it just boggles the mind, the amount of money that is thrown around in Canadian government, and we're taxed practically to death here. And the absolute arrogance of our politicians to think that they are doing good for us and we should just be thankful because their actions help jobs stay in Quebec. Their actions help keep industry moving. No, you want to help industry move, you want to help keep jobs in a community, don't give sweetheart deals to one company over others, and you'll boost your economy. Lower corporate tax rates, make them as low as you possibly can, and that will bring people into your country to invest and build factories and build facilities. But lower taxes mean less revenue, and the government's not about less revenue. Anyway, that's my rant on it. It was surprising. Oh, I didn't touch on a couple of the details of the Jody Wilson-Raybould testimony. So she sat there for about 20 minutes giving her a recounting of what happened between certain months, and how she felt pressured by the PMO and by Gerard Butts, or whatever his name is, and the Prime Minister himself, and how the Privy Council, who's there to basically say, hey, you're overstepping the line there, Mr. Prime Minister, didn't say shit. He basically sat there like a potted plant. Anyway, so the proceedings were just so cute. The guy who was basically heading it, chairing it, he looked like Scott Thompson from the Kids in the Hall. He looked like Scott Thompson's long lost brother from Kids in the Hall. I gotta go through this. And at the beginning, there were people who were there saying, "Hey, could we get a written copy of her statement, please, so that when we ask questions, we can refer to it?" And he's like, "Yeah, we can do that. I think we can get those if that's okay with Miss Wilson-Raybould." And she's like, "Yeah, that's fine." And then one of the French Canadians like, "Zut alors, can I have it also in francophone?" And "Oh, well, we don't have it in francophone. Can you wait 5 minutes?" It was really, really funny to see how conciliatory, how polite these officials are to one another after just watching the Cohen one. It was fucking hilarious. Politics in Canada are pretty partisan as well, but man, you wouldn't know it except if you watch Question Period or Question Time or Answer Period. I think they changed it. But anyway, that's just my rant on the whole thing. I know it's a day late. I did one yesterday, but I wasn't 100% happy with it. Anyway, go and check out both testimonies just to get an indication of the contrast between Canadian and American political theater. Anyway, that's about it for me today. Happy Friday, everyone. If you like my content, you're new to this channel, consider liking and subscribing and hitting the bell notification and sharing with all your friends and telling your doctor about it and your mechanic, and maybe dream about me at night. Anyway, thanks very much. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.